Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Microsoft's Senior Vice President, Office, Steven Sinofsky.
Good morning, everybody. It is fantastic to get a chance to be here at the PDC and share with you the Office 12 platform for information workers. Apologize, I'm a little tired. I've been up all night reading the blogs. I got to tell you, the blogs on the UI that we showed yesterday have been fantastic to read. I never thought we'd make it to number 2 in Technorati with a Office feature, and so I'm very excited to see that. And so what I'm going to do is I have a lot of demos to do for you today, and I'm going to start off by first, I'd like to make one announcement for all of you, which is that all of the PDC attendees will be receiving Beta 1 of Office 12 when it comes out shortly. So no need to run and sign up for that. You'll just be getting that. So all the attendees when we release that in a few months. So, actually, I wanted to take a little bit of a lesson from Jim. Apparently, Jim had all these cool things to give away, and I felt bad. All I had was the beta. And so for the first 100 people who sign up for the beta, and you actually don't have to leave to sign up for this or anything, we have these brand new Office steak knives that will be included for the, you'll be eligible for drawing with the first 100 Watson reports for the Office 12 Beta 1. So please enjoy the opportunity to win these new steak knives. And, oh, duh. People up here really like that. Those knives are taken, sorry. Let me talk to you a little bit about the announcements that we have here at the PDC, which we're just very, very excited to share with you. First, yesterday we had the new client experience, the new user interface for Office 12, and we really showed you the developer opportunity for that. And we've worked very hard to really up-level the developer opportunity and make for a very rich opportunity for you to really deliver great solutions using the Office platform. Today, we're going to show you a lot about Enterprise Content Management, or ECM. And this is a broad range of technologies that we're going to show today. So I will show you a lot of technology. These are not packages and prices and SKUs. Today is a technology demonstration that's going to show you how we intend to offer tools for developers and end users to manage the full range of content, own the complete life cycle for documents. We have a great deal of client integration that we've done and a great deal of opportunities for developers to enhance client integration. We have our open XML schemas and the availability of those. You can actually download the betas of the documentation today already. And just the broad range of functionality in our SharePoint family for developers. And so today is a technology demonstration of all of the ECM functionality in Office 12. So let's take a quick look at the evolution of the information worker platform. And these are the opportunities that you've had as developers to enhance the end user information worker experience over the past years. You know, if you go back to 1995, the core opportunity for developers was really about building macros, using things like Word Basic, if you can remember doing that a long time ago. We had a very command-driven user interface, and really the whole extensibility mechanism was gated by the interaction with binary documents through an object model. And it's been very powerful, and in many ways I want to thank all of you that have helped to make the Office platform as successful as it's been. And that investment that we made a long time ago, of course, still goes forward with compatibility and all the solutions that continue to work. But the platform that we're announcing today that we've really started to deliver on with Office 2003 is the Office system. And this system really allows a whole new level of extensibility for solutions. First, it's built on many of the elements of the Windows Server system and includes in Office 12 a series of new technologies. The brand new SharePoint server, the form services, which I'll talk about today, and the Excel services as well. All of these are new elements of the Office platform, or the information worker platform. And the extensibility that we provide, this is just a short list. We're including the XML and the web services throughout the product. the Visual Studio and managed code work that we've done in InfoPath, in Front Page, and on the server side, and our user interface, as I mentioned, and the XML file formats. And those form the cornerstone of the new information worker platform, and why we're so excited to be here today to share with you all of these developments and this rich evolution that's happened in the information worker platform. The core element of our platform is SharePoint, and SharePoint in the broadest sense, which today encompasses Windows SharePoint Services and SharePoint Portal Server. But as you'll see, we're going to use the term SharePoint to mean this entire information worker platform on the server. And SharePoint's got a very long history with us, and I want you to understand just how deeply committed we are to SharePoint and how long and hard we've worked to bring it to the level of functionality that you're going to see today. Actually, SharePoint goes way back to Office 97 for us with the first front page server extensions. And this was when we first really got hold of this notion that to complete the Office solution framework, we really need a server. We really need to get Office documents on a server and take advantage of the ability to use server services to enhance information work. And as we enhanced that, we built out the server extensions more in Office 2000. We added threaded discussions and document libraries. Office XP continued to enhance the line, and including adding the first release of SharePoint Portal Server. But it was really with Office 2003 and the whole Office system announcement that we built a very rich framework for building applications on the server. And you can see just the long list of features and investments that we've made to bring that to life for you. And so today is really about the new level of functionality in the Office 12 server investments. And this is the deepest, broadest framework for enterprise content management that we've ever had to introduce, and we're very excited about that. And it's really made up of a number of core elements. First and foremost, it's built on Windows SharePoint Services as the Windows Server System core platform element that we build on. So all of the elements of this strategy are built on the Windows SharePoint Services. And it starts with base collaboration. And so this collaboration is what you think of as team sites, project management. In Office 12, we'll have blogs and wikis as part of this core collaborative environment. Then comes the portal server. The portal enables you to take those team sites and those collaborative elements of the work and bring them to life for the entire enterprise and make it possible for the broadest range of users in a very highly scalable environment to take advantage of the collaborative framework. And of course, once you have that, you need to have great search. And so one of the cornerstone investments in the Office 12 platform has been all about building search as a key element of our enterprise content management. And then content management itself, the ability to have very rich published sites that have tightly controlled styles, a model for contributing content from writers and from contributors all around the globe. And this is what we call today Content Management Server. But you're going to see a new content management server in Office 12 built on the foundation of Windows SharePoint Services and on the entire ECM framework in Office 12. And then building in the role of business processes. How can you have the great tools that you just saw demonstrated for workflow built into the experience for information workers? And so we'll talk about how workflow and the whole notion of document management and libraries get built into the business processes for information workers. And then finally, the role of business intelligence and that ability to take data that lies in line of business systems, build scorecards, build heads-up displays, and integrate business data with the rich reporting and analysis capabilities that you have in Microsoft Access and Microsoft Excel. And so all of these together build out what we call the Office 12 ECM platform. And so we're very excited to show you the elements of this today. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a demonstration for the most of this talk that is a demonstration in 4 acts, if you will. First, we're going to talk about ECM and show you Windows SharePoint Services and an overview of the functionality there and all of the developer opportunities we have. We're going to show you InfoPath and the role that it plays in data collection and forms for business processes. Enterprise search and the business data catalog and the role of the portal server and how the portal can be used by developers. And then the role of Microsoft Access, one of our key tools in the role of integrating data across the entire platform. So please join me over here for a demo, and let's kind of get started and talk through the demo. So I'm going to start with a little bit of a quick overview of Windows SharePoint Services, just to make sure that everybody is familiar with what we've got in the new product. And as I go through this, I want to highlight the developer opportunities and talk to you about where we really have opened up the system for your contribution, but I also want to show you the end user features so you can see the out-of-the-box experience that people will have with Windows SharePoint Services and the entire ECM framework. So what we have here is the new SharePoint portal server across the top, and you can see this Chrome up here represents the site, the entire enterprise site. And so this is where you have the search center and all of the different access to the sites. You have all of the site actions for administration and managing the overall website. Within this, you have a team site. And the team sites represent the places where all the ad hoc collaboration takes place, where you surface the collaborative roles of the software, and where the end users will interact with the most. Included in a team site is all the navigation that you would see here, of course, all customizable. And speaking of customizable, all of the elements that you see on the screen are web parts built with the Visual Studio ASP.NET 2.0 web part framework. So it's been very great working with the team. Very important that we built the ECM platform on top of the web part framework that is integrated in Visual Studio. And so within this, you have also document libraries. And so these web parts can surface here, or we can actually click and see the in-depth user interface for a document library. And so this is part of the new SharePoint user interface, and it has nice drop-downs where I can easily filter and sort. And you'll see this very much looks like the UI for sorting and searching within Access and within Excel as well. You can define views. For example, here I can select an all documents view and sort the entire list. And then you have all the documents and the metadata. Today we're going to talk a lot about metadata, because in building solutions, developers have the opportunity to really incorporate rich metadata that can really help drive the solution. Now, one of the key problems that people face when using document management or managing lists of documents in SharePoint is that you kind of created a folder and dumped all the documents in it. And before you know it, you had just a really big folder sitting on the server, and you couldn't figure out, which documents were important, why did they matter. You do a lot of sorting, searching, but you really didn't have the structure to really help maintain a corporate asset. And so what we've done is create a new set of features for developers called content types. Content types are a way for you to have an object-oriented definition of the information in your site. And those content types include the type of information that you can create, what kind of document, the metadata associated with that type, as well as the behaviors associated with it, such as workflow or corporate policy for managing those documents. And those content types are very easily visible once you create them to the end user. So let's go ahead and create a new spec in our document management system. This spec is a content type within SharePoint. So when it pops up, the first thing you see is this is just a Word template, actually using the new XML file format. You see the new Word user experience. But because it's a content type, you actually see this new property sheet here. So this is written by a developer, and it's a developer opportunity to create one of these property sheets. So you go ahead and you type in a title for your document, and you'll notice right away that title appears down here. Now the reason for that is because using the XML data binding in Word, we're able to connect the property sheet with fields in Word. And this is actually a two-way street. So in fact, I could go down here and create a specification. You see that two-way street is connected through the data binding. You also have very rich drop-downs where I can select these cool forms. I even can do all sorts of math within here, and you see the math changes. And I can even look things up in a database. And so this is actually going out to a SharePoint list and pulling that information. The reason that form is so powerful is because it's actually an InfoPath form. And so you don't have to learn another tool. You can just use InfoPath to create those property sheets. And so I just created a quick specification template, and I'm going to go up here and save this template out to the site. Now the way you do this, you go and share a copy of it, and you have access to all the cool features for sharing. In fact, I could do an approval workflow right here from that. I can actually go and create or view the other workflows associated with the document. But instead, I'm actually just going to go straight and save it to the document management server. And go ahead and save that document out there. And this just publishes it out to the SharePoint site. And go ahead and hit refresh, and you'll see that document appears right up at the top. And it's a very cool and rich model for just saving and interacting, just like you would normally. And in fact, I can do all sorts of neat operations from within the document, or I can go up here and look at actions that I could create for the whole document library. Like, for example, I could go and get the RSS feed for this document library. So every time somebody adds a document, I can get that through a feed and see it as you saw yesterday in Outlook or wherever you're reading your RSS feeds. I can open this up in Outlook and keep this whole library offline, even if you'd like. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create a workflow setting, or create a document library workflow for this. And so the way I'm going to do that is go over to the document library site, and I can see where I can set all the different properties for the library. So I could set a policy, for example, and that actually could be a document retention policy. And part of ECM is the whole notion of how you manage and maintain content through policy. And so SharePoint, as a repository for your data, you can have expiration, you can have rights, you can maintain archived copies of documents, and all that's a policy you can set on your content type. Feel free. Thanks for that. And let me go ahead and create a workflow. So I'm going to go here and just create a new workflow. I could actually just use one of the pre-existing workflows, or go ahead and add a new workflow. So here are the kinds of workflows an end user can add right out of the box. These are the workflows that have been added to the site, and we have a number of workflows that are out-of-box experiences. In fact, for those developers that are here from Asia, we even have specific workflows that are out of the box that we've developed for our East Asian customers, because there are really specific workflow needs, such as document routing or Ringy, that are really important for our customers in Asia. But I'm going to go down here and create a review feedback. I'm going to call this workflow feedback. And I can go and set a whole bunch of options on how this will work. And these are part of the creating a workflow template. And I can even set the defaults for who would review the workflow and who would deal with it. Go ahead and click OK. And so now you see that I've got the workflows right there, and I can go ahead and add it. I'm going to go back to the development document library and go ahead and attach a workflow to this document. So because of the content types, you can attach a workflow to a library, or to a type, or to a document. You see right here is the workflow that I just created. Go ahead and create this workflow. I have this very nice form here where I can even do a rich check names against the library. This form itself, also an info path form built into the system for using the workflows. Go ahead and click OK, and what that's going to do is associate the workflow with that document. Actually, you see I already got the mail message telling me, hey, this workflow needs attention. So the tasks and the workflow items are integrated with your task management in Outlook. In fact, I can go up here and edit the task. And right here, I can go and provide comments. Let's pretend I went and did all the work and said, looks good. I'm going to go ahead and check this as completed, and go ahead and submit this as a completed workflow. And so now when you come here, you'll see it says in progress now. If I just go and refresh, you'll see that now it marks that workflow as complete. And so you've seen this rich integration of metadata and how it really can help out in terms of managing the workflow. And you've seen how you can build a customized workflow for a document or for a content type or a library. But let me show you a developer opportunity using Microsoft Front Page. Now, I say Front Page, but really this is a new version of Front Page. And in fact, for the purposes of this demonstration, you can think of all the technology that I'm showing you today as the SharePoint designer. And so on top of all of the great expressions web editing, web design technology you just saw, all of the use of CSS, XML, XSLT, all of the ASP.NET integration and use of controls and data binding, those are all part of the front page and the SharePoint designer. I'm going to show you another part of that, which is the integration of creating and customizing sites with this technology. And so as a site designer, you can actually use Front Page to go and create a workflow. This is sort of an intermediate design tool for creating workflows. So let me go ahead and create this workflow. I actually pick which document library I want the workflow to be part of. I can then go and I have a rules wizard, like the rules wizard in Outlook, to go ahead and create a workflow. So I can add a condition, for example, and you can write your own custom conditions as a developer, where I can say, I can specify I want, the milestone to equal, let's say, M1, and then I can set what action I want to take. So I can, for example, set an action that says I want to send mail to somebody when there's a workflow issue. I can set the text of what I want this mail message to read, and go ahead and use that as my workflow definition. And go ahead and finish off saving this workflow. What I'm doing now is creating a workflow and saving it out to the SharePoint site. So it's out on the site, and in all those pick lists that we just saw, I could go and use this workflow. But what's really cool is that the workflow that we just created is really the same XML that we just saw in the previous demonstration for you. So you've now used the SharePoint design technologies to go ahead and create this very rich workflow, and has all the power of the workflow design that we talked about earlier, but done in a very quick and easy way using that design wizard. So that's a few things that we have in the Windows SharePoint services and the workflow and enterprise content management arena. And so I'd like to move on now and talk about the role that InfoPath plays in how we go ahead and collect data and work to gather information to contribute to our site. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and launch InfoPath. And so this is the new version of InfoPath, which has a great deal of functionality and enhanced for designing forms that can help you collect data and bind those to an XML schema. But I'm going to go ahead and design a form. The biggest piece of feedback we received regarding InfoPath was, hey, we really need a way to create these forms in the same rich environment as InfoPath, but make them available through web browsers and devices, as well as through the rich client InfoPath technology. So the way you do that now is you just say, I'd like this form to be compatible with the form server, which is a server element of the Office 12 platform. I'm going to go ahead and create a form now using just that one checkbox to work on a browser and in the rich client. So when you create a form, you have full access to all of the rich functionality of InfoPath. In fact, you can go ahead and just use this like a word processor, make things bigger, and use all the rich formatting. I could also go and add data validation. So one of the powerful elements of InfoPath is that you have an out-of-the-box environment for developing very rapid, relatively rapid solutions using the InfoPath UI, and of course you could always drop down into script or managed code to customize these. But I could go ahead here and, for example, add a validation rule that says, hey, this field, if it does not begin with the letter A, then I'd really like to put up an alert for users that says must begin with A. And go, oops, well, that'll prove that I'm really doing the demo live. And then go ahead and add that validation. Now, we also got asked quite a bit for the ability to have design snippets as part of InfoPath. And so, in fact, I could go down here and drag this part in and have the ability to create rich forms from predefined parts that are in other forms. So now I've got the basis of a form that I'd like my end users to go ahead and use from within my SharePoint site. I've got 3 steps that I need to go through in order to publish this form. And so these 3 steps are all about figuring out how to connect the form up to data. So first, I have to say, what do I want my users to use to do when they go and submit this form? I could submit it as email and have it get mailed to a place. I could also use a SharePoint document library, which is what we're actually going to do. I have to add the source that I want to publish this form to, and go ahead and add that source. Oops. And publish it to this document library that I'm going to create. And I'm going to overwrite the file if it exists. And, oops, left off one step. And go ahead and I'm going to name this file the same name as the field that you type in. And I'm going to go ahead and save this form out to the site. So now what I've got to do is quickly save the form. And now I'm going to go publish this form out to my SharePoint site. So this is the 3rd step where I have to go publish it. So I could publish it just out to a network share. I could publish it to a list of email recipients or out to the SharePoint site. And it will go and query for all the document libraries that are out there. Going to go pick a brand new document library and call that InfoPath. and publish it out there. I can also add any of the fields as custom fields that'll show up as metadata in the site as well. So get that out to the site. Now the site's going to pop up, and this is a security step that we go through, which is to validate that we want the form to actually be out on the server. And so now that form is published out to the site. So let's go take a look at it. You actually see right now there are no documents. In there. I can go ahead and click New, and it will use InfoPath to go and figure out the form. I'm going to go put some data in there. Again, I have these rich pick lists that I can go from. I can do math in the site. I'm looking up things in SharePoint lists. I'm going to go ahead and click Submit and submit that form successfully. And go back here, and you can refresh the site, and you'll see that that document's been posted. So I just showed you using a rich form to submit that site. Let's pull up another browser and open up that form. And so here's that same form. You actually see the same UI. You have that same validation that it says it must begin with an A. I've got all of the same power of the drop-downs, but I'm actually doing this from within a browser. I have all the richness. Go ahead and submit this form. I got a little bit of a bug there. And the form was submitted, so that was pretty cool. So now I've got another record in my database, and I just submitted that with a web browser, even though I created that form with a very rich forms design environment for collecting data. And in fact, thanks, but that's not all. I actually brought up the Symbian phone simulator from OpenWave, and I can go ahead and submit this form, actually using the same technology that we just had, and submit that to the site. And you see I have the same validation there, and I could go ahead and send that data using a WAP-based phone out to the SharePoint site. And so we've done a great deal of work to make these forms a great tool for data collection all around the world. And so let's, what should I do next? I'm going to go and I'd like to just summarize the importance of InfoPath to our strategy. And so it's really important to understand that we've made a big investment in making InfoPath a great tool for collecting structured XML data. And so when you go and take InfoPath and bring it back into where it's really good, it's good if you've got an XML schema, or it's good if you want to define an XML schema, and develop a rich way to collect information from your users all around the globe. And it's a great rapid application environment. And when you combine it with SharePoint, what you've got is a great environment for very quickly and easily collecting information from your customers. And so let me show you a few more things. And I'm going to actually go into the world of enterprise search now and show you the role that the portal site plays in our SharePoint world. And so we've built a lot of work into making search better. It's been one of the places that I could say fairly that Bill G has consistently given us a lot of feedback on how good search is for his ability to find things within Microsoft. And so we've done a lot of work. That test is coming up. We're about to go live internally with the site, and that should hope really improve things for him as well as all of us. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick search here, and you know, oops, made a typo. That was my stage typo there. And you can see the first thing that we've got is did you mean? And that's really all about you know, using intelligent search metaphors that people have become familiar with. And we've got this whole role of, hey, you know, use the spell checker, use the linguistics, and help us out to do a much better job searching. And so I'm going to go click on the did you mean, and these are the search results from the site. And so you can see it's a very clean interface. So as a developer, you have full access to the web service API of the search engine. Plus, you can write custom display of search results or integrate the search results however you want. There's a lot of power available to you in that beyond just getting the results from one query. Also, as a developer, you can define best bets for the site. So if there are certain keywords or certain things that you want people to find based on certain queries, you can define those as best bets and have them surface easily in the site. There's also a lot of richness in how we can customize the search results for users. So for example, I can click on people, and I can get the search results that are relevant to my query that are the people in our organization. And so this is super important for the enterprise where you know, you've got Active Directory rolled out, and you've got people who want to find and connect based on job experience and expertise. In fact, using the job title field of Active Directory, I can even further refine the the search results by clicking on the search results of the job title, and I can even go and click on, oh, notice by the way, the presence information is visible right there. I could go and click on Luis's page, and I get his My Site. So as a developer, you can open up the My Sites for customization throughout all of your organization and allow people to add and modify their own site that pops up in this case. In fact, you see all of the Active Directory details here, and even the org hierarchy from Active Directory if that's set up. And you even have distribution lists that people are members of that show up because of the integration between the search engine and AD, and even the colleagues. And this is actually a web part based on search results and that have the proximity of other names that have been mentioned in all the documents and search corpus that are relevant. And of course, all of these are web parts and easily customized by both end users and developers. I can also go and look at the customers in that relative to that search term. This is super interesting because this is a feature that's only successful because developers are able to write code against SharePoint. The code that you can write in this case is code that can go out and get enterprise data from a line of business system and integrate those search results into the SharePoint experience. And so in this case, these results are stored in a enterprise line of business application that stores customer information. But the results are displayed within SharePoint and intermixed with the regular search results. And in fact, I can click on one of these customers and see enterprise data right away as it accesses the enterprise data site. So this is using SharePoint as a business data catalog. And in fact, here you have a site that was created using the SharePoint design technologies in front page. You actually have a master details view, which are two web parts that have a data connection between them that was done using the SharePoint designer technology in front page. And in fact, we also have customer contacts, which is another web part that was written by a developer that goes out and gets information from the line of business system. And here you have, this is super cool, and I want to take a second to explain this. This is actually an Excel calculation done on the server. And so for years, people have tried to figure out how can we have the functionality of data binding, pivot tables, and rich data connectivity in that grid view of Excel, but still have a rich browser interface to present that data. So this web part here is actually an Excel functionality rendered as HTML from the server. And the way that you create one of these in Office 12 is you create a spreadsheet in Excel, connect it to data, and then just publish that out to SharePoint, just like we did with the form example. But then when you hit the URL, instead of opening up in Excel, you actually get the full access of Excel's data binding, reporting, display, and pivot tables and analysis, all displayed straight through an HTML interface right here in a web part. Well, thanks. That's very cool. And so that's just a web part that's right here. And let me go ahead and show you one other connection to business data. So I've got a default list here in SharePoint. So I want to emphasize how important lists are to your opportunity as a developer in SharePoint. So you can think of a list as basically a SQL table that you can get access to through the SharePoint Web Service API out on the server. And so a list is the fundamental concept of SharePoint, which we have this API for. And with that, you can get access to all of the list functionality of adding rows and columns, doing filters, setting item level security, doing views, getting to that information from within other applications. You can use lists within the front page design tools. For example, you could do a join between two lists in a master details view. There's lots of great functionality you get with a list, but at the same time, those lists, since they're maintained on the server, are there as a corporate asset. And so the days of having a database that's out on a file share somewhere that you can't figure out if it's really important, you don't know where there's one copy of it, if it's not definitive or not, you can actually use SharePoint to go and create that asset. And the neat thing is, just by using the SharePoint out-of-the-box user interface, the end users get access to a very easy-to-create list, a very easy way to manage the information without having to write any Chrome yourself. You can just go ahead and use that list. And every list in SharePoint has all of these functionalities built in. You can edit in a rich data sheet, which is a rich client-side interaction, like using a spreadsheet, which is great for bulk data entry or copy-paste. You can export all the data to a spreadsheet for analysis. So if you have a list that you're collecting, like a survey or something like that, actually you can open the list with Microsoft Access or any database program that can speak the SOAP API and really work with it as a database. And I'll show that in just a second. You can have an RSS feed for any list and customize which fields are sent out to the list. Excellent. And also you can receive email notifications of any changes that happen in a list or updates. And so I'm actually going to go ahead here, and I want to just really quickly show you the kinds of things you can create views on with a list. So this is end-user functionality, also exposed through the customization tools available to developers. Of course, you can create, a calendar view. So if you want to show your list so it looks like a calendar, you can actually create a list that automatically binds to a view in Access. So if you want to create a cool form, join that data with the line of business system, very neat stuff there. You can have a data sheet view, which I explained earlier. Actually, if your list happens to be a list of tasks where you have dates and assign to, you can view it as a Gantt chart through the web browser as just a straight list. And so we have this basic project management facility built in to the lists and to views. I can also just create a standard view. A standard view lets me first name the view. I can create personalized views because SharePoint has a rich personalization infrastructure, or a public view, set what kind of fields and order of the fields. And I just wanted to scroll down and show you some of the advanced options that are available to developers. One of my favorites is making the SharePoint list available as a mobile view. So you saw earlier the integration with the site. Well, the mobile view allows you to just see the SharePoint list over a mobile device, and so expose your site through the extranet, be either in the DMZ or through a firewall, and you could access it through a mobile site. So very nice feature that we've done. And I can also go ahead here, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new column in my list. And so the column lets me, as an end user, add a cool column. Now this is the data types that you can have, and they're very rich. You can actually have lookup fields that go to other SharePoint lists. You can have hyperlinks, all sorts of neat things. One of the things you can do is create a link that's business data. The business data type is actually a link to a data source that a developer added to the site. So I'm actually going to go ahead here and create a link to my Fabricam customer database, which actually I'll pick a couple of fields to export, like the city and the country and the phone number. And so those are fields that it'll go get from this line of business system and integrate these into the list that we've got for customer projects. And so now when you go to the site, you see that we've got the customer field coming from the line of business system along with the fields that we had previously defined in SharePoint. So this data is now basically a join from the line of business system with the data that's stored in the SharePoint list. And in fact, I could go ahead and add a new item and go ahead and add the customer. And one of the neat things is I can go ahead here and click Save, and it's going to go ahead and, oops, I forgot, I missed a step. I'm going to go ahead and add another customer so I can get this right. And what it can do is actually go query the database and look up the information. And in fact, if I click on this, I get a pick list of data from the database that the developer set up, and allows me to add a resolved name, if you will, or a check names. Go ahead and save that out. I'm just going to delete that one. That's using the cool UI that's right there. And you see I've got this data. Now this data, you notice I pulled that from the database. And I can go ahead here and notice this one is shown as a link. So I can go ahead here, directly click on this, and get that scorecard for that customer and show that in the site that the developer created. Now the neat thing here is this allows you to do something like a very cool scenario that happens all the time. Like you've got a customer management system that you want to interface with, and you're doing an event, a trade show, a PDC. And you want the people taking the orders for attendees to actually pull the real information from your customer management site, but have the ease of use of SharePoint and also the rapid application development. So you can pull the accurate data without having to write all the Chrome and the whole front end. And by the way, if you need to do quick reports, quick printouts, export that list to Excel with a one click, or to a spreadsheet with one click, and you can go ahead and use that for printing and for management. So it's a great way for, as a developer, to build a rapid solution on top of the rich tools that we've got with SharePoint. And so in this section, I showed you the really cool elements of enterprise content management as they relate to search and to integrating business data with your applications that you develop. I didn't get a chance to show you all the cool work with Content Management Server and all the customizations that are available to you through the SOAP interfaces and the web APIs. So I got one more act in our demo, and I'd like to show you one of my old-time favorite tools, which is Microsoft Access, and talk to you a little bit about how we've gone and really re-upped our commitment to Access and really done a lot of work to breed some new and exciting features into the product. You know, historically, Access has been one of the key tools in the Office developer arsenal. And really the core element of Access that really helped all the time was Access is, the way we say it, your landing pad for data. And so Access was the one tool that you could pull data from all over the place, whether it was a text file or CSV, XML in the last couple releases, an Excel spreadsheet, old legacy, DBF files, plus line of business client server, SQL kind of applications. And so what we've done with the new Access in Office 12 is first we've built in a number of very rich templates. Now these templates represent the kind of applications that developers have historically written in Access and enable you as a developer to customize them and build on top of them. And these are rich applications that one of the coolest things they do is they don't just store the data in an MDB file. These applications can also work with data stored on a SharePoint server. So let's take a look at how that works. So I'm going to open up this application, and in fact, I'm going to go over to a SharePoint site and pull up that application. And so here it is in SharePoint. I'm actually going to show you all of the lists that have been created by using Access to create this application. I've got issues, I've got all the tasks, I've got the contacts. In fact, I can go over to the issues list. So you see I'm using the SharePoint user interface to get to this data that was created with Access. So you got the web UI working with this data. So you see here are all the issues. Actually, they look just like these same issues here. In fact, if I go here and change the status, and then I go over here and refresh this one, you'll see that status just changed to resolve as well. And so that data is connected between Access and SharePoint. In fact, it's really just external data within Access. I could go here and import the data. I have a SharePoint list. That icon is not finished yet, where I can go and pick the server that I want to pick the data from. Once I've got the server, I can pick which list I want to connect to. And so those external data sources are first-class elements of the Access application. So if you want to go and connect data from multiple SharePoint sites or from a SharePoint site and a line of business system and build a rich application around that, you're able to go ahead and do that super, super easily. And it's actually a very rich functionality for doing that. One of the other things that you can do with SharePoint is really you want to take this Access database, and one of the biggest problems that we've had with Access over the years is you set up these great applications, this great database, and you can't make it easy for people to get information into the Access database. And so remember before we talked all about the rich use of InfoPath as a way to collect data that's validated, that backs up with an XML schema. So I'm actually going to go here and click on this Create Email button. This Create Email button is going to create a mail merge, but instead of a mail merge that uses the database, it's going to create a mail merge that can fill the database. And so I'm going to go here, and I'm going to fill it. I can use an HTML form or an InfoPath form. I'm going to collect some new information, and now I'm going to pick which fields I'd like to collect. I can just go and pick on any one of them, the description, and those fields are going to be part of the mail message. And so this is going to be a mail message that will allow me to go ahead and collect information. I'm going to enter the email addresses from Outlook. Actually, if you had an email address field in this database, you could automatically go and collect the information and update it based on who had submitted it, for example, as an email. Go ahead and click Create. Now, you're going to get an Outlook mail note, and it's going to show up with all of the richness of it. I'm going to send this mail to a friend of mine. And you see here is all the form, and it'll be editable and include the form there. Go ahead and send this message. Now, the neat thing is I'm going to go into Outlook. Now, I sent this message out to my friend, but I'm going to go here into Sent Items and open up this form. So this is what it would look like to receive that message. I'm going to click Open the Form. So now here I am in Access, and I'm actually going to go fill this out. And go ahead and I can pick the form. So you see I'm in InfoPath, basically filling out the form. Outlook 12 includes the functionality to basically use an InfoPath form as a mail note. And so you could send around a mail message that has all the rich data collections of InfoPath, and then have that data funnel back to whatever data source you want. I'm going to go ahead and click Submit and send that information in. And so now that information is gone and sent, and you can see it's in my sent mail. In fact, that information shows up automatically in a folder in the inbox to the person who sent it. So remember that I had previously sent that mail. And so actually it'll automatically, because if I enable this feature, it'll automatically process the form and then go and add it to the database. And I actually forgot if I went and added it or not, but if I didn't, I apologize. Oh, and there you have the form added automatically to the Access database. And the neat thing is, if I go here, actually, I forget. I got a little bug there, and then, oops, wrong one again. There you see, also added to that Access database as well. And so what I've done is created a way to submit data to an Access application from within Access, but the data itself is actually stored out there on SharePoint. And so we've done a rich connection between Access as a developer tool and the ability to connect and integrate with data that's stored out on the SharePoint site. And so what I've showed you is a run-through of all of the breadth of opportunities for developers to customize the new Office platform in Office 12, and really shown you some of the richness that we've got in the platform for building applications. We could go back to the slides now. Oh, there we go. And so I've showed you how Windows SharePoint Services contributes as the core platform element for building enterprise content management. We showed you how content types are defined by you to build rich applications with metadata, how you have an opportunity to build workflow solutions with Office, doing that with the out-of-the-box workflows in Front Page, building your own with Front Page, or using the Windows Workflow Foundation and all the tools in Visual Studio to create workflows, publish those up to the site. Building on our core application for collecting information from end users is InfoPath. And so building on having an XML schema, collecting that information, moving it to a site, moving it through mail, using it as a front end for collecting data and access, and using it as a property sheet for all the workflow and metadata with the applications. In the world of search, we've opened up a whole API for you to build custom search solutions with Office. And with Business Data Catalog, you can build applications that connect SharePoint out to the business data that is super important to your organization. And finally, a super important part of our strategy is enabling you to use Access as a landing pad for data, as in a way for building rapidly applications that connect Access data, SharePoint data, and using the richness of Access in combination with any data source that you've got. And so the kind of solutions that we enable you to build with the platform are very rich. You know, document lifecycle solutions or content publication. The whole range of portals can be built and customized using the Office 12 platform. Business scorecards are a very rich area where you can use the Excel services on the server functionality, combining it with the business data catalog and build a very rich scorecard using Front Page and the SharePoint design technologies there. Extranet collaboration, all of the work that we've done in Windows SharePoint Services this release allows for immense scale. So you can have huge scale, build out team site farms, and really build out a great extranet collaborative environment. I didn't talk a lot today about the role of Project Server for enterprise project management, but that really enables you to build a whole class of applications on top of the site that using the Windows SharePoint Services. Of course, the API support includes XML, web services, ASP.NET. We also have COM APIs available both in the client and on the server side as well. And you can think of the tool support for the work that we've done as being a tiered strategy. First, there's web-based customization, where you can add predefined web parts, move them around, and let end users work on them. Design and database integration with the front page technologies, whether it's CSS, XML, ASP.NET, or with the functionality available through designing and working on SharePoint sites. And finally, using Visual Studio, as a developer, you can build out web parts, build out the workflows, and integrate those all seamlessly with the Office 12 ECM server platform. And so with that, I want to wrap up by talking about preparing for Office 12. So first thing is, there's a lot more to come. In fact, even over the past 2 days, we've barely scratched the surface of all the new features for developers and end users in Office 12. You saw how to customize the UI yesterday, and you've seen all of the rich platform elements available to you as developers in Office 12. And then, starting today, what you can do is, first you can incorporate XML into your applications. The XML file formats are available to you to start learning. We have XML support already in Office 2003 in some applications. We've also got rich XML support in InfoPath, which is a key tool to really invest in. Interop through web services. SharePoint 2003 today has web service APIs for you to use, build on, and build solutions. And really investing today in Windows SharePoint services is an important way to get started on Office 12. I want to ask all of you to install and develop with the Office 12 Beta 1 that you'll get in a couple months. We're very excited to bring that beta to all of you as PDC attendees. And good luck to those of you submitting your first bugs with Watson and winning the steak knives. And with that, I really want to thank everybody for the opportunity to share a release that we're very excited about. And so thank you very much for your time today.